Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Chaos Head. Last time we were in the Nazami building. This is where I kind of slow down as I try and work out what has just happened. So we were talking to the Committee of 300. It turns out that they are, for lack of a better word, gods. And we've got to go down to Shibuya Station to get a cheat code to do something pretty cool. We don't know what it's going to do. We don't know what the cheat code is going to look like. It's probably going to look like a person, but essentially we've got to destroy it. At least that's what my theory is. I think it's going to be a person. Let's go and find out. I'm just going to have a sip of coffee. And you guys are going to have a good time. I hope. I'm going to have a good time. Hatano Asie. How do you reckon you say that last name? Asai or SEI? SEA? You know how AOE is like AOE? AOE? Like, do you sound every letter out? Or is it just Asai? Hatano Asai. Hatano Asai watched his daughter and Nishijori Takumi leave until they fell out of the sight, and once they did, he took a seat in the middle of the rubble. Have we just jumped out the window? I wish to talk with God just for just a moment longer. As he became the last remaining person in the room, he said those words into the air. His daughter Senna had looked like she had something to tell him, but instead she simply thrown a sharp glare his way, only to click her tongue, turn her head away, and leave without saying a word. Nothing had escaped Hatano's lips either. Committee of 300, are you still watching me? He faced the silent, pitch-black monitor and called out to it. There was no response for a while, leaving Hatano to continue staring emptily at the monitor. Eventually, the screen roared back to life, displaying the chat log from before. Yeah, it responded with Y, meaning yes. Why Senna and Nishijori Takumi? Why not me? With Shibuya in its current state, they were the Gigglemaniacs we had the highest likelihood of establishing contact with. That's all. There's no ulterior motive beyond that. As a Committee of 300, how precisely would you define this world? A game? Grounds for experiment? A farm for livestock? Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It seems like this world that we're currently in is not the real world. Now, whether you believe that or not, it's another thing, but whether it's going to be a VR world, whether it's going to be more like a Matrix affair. The Matrix Affair. Chaos Head, the Matrix Affair. Is yet to be proven. A farm for livestock would be the Matrix, right? The world, what did it just say? The Worldwide Human Domestication Project is merely the delusion born of a certain selection of conspiracy theorists. As was stated before, we do not directly intervene in your world. The Worldwide Human Domestication Project, a term that would find its way into any discussion about the famous Committee of 300 conspiracy. Those who know the conspiracy speculate that the Committee of 300 means to establish a one-world government to unify the world, and once they do, they shall guide the world through the creation of a new world order. Aside from a selection of chosen people, all of humanity will be subjected to semi-permanent brainwashing, applied via a silent weapon, turning them into mindless slaves. Just like livestock, their flesh, milk, labour, children, and very lives shall endlessly be stolen away by the elite. Should this be realised, it would perhaps be humanity's cruelest, most systematic utopia of all. More like a dystopia. Unknowingly having their world's wills stolen from them and being automated as livestock, the remaining of humanity would be constantly exploited, all while continuing to live their lives in blissful ignorance. As they would have no way to know their exploitation, they would never raise any objections nor rebel against the circumstances. Even if the Worldwide Human Domestication Project is a mere delusion, silent weapons are very much real. No other second exists as irrefutable evidence of this fact. That is related to our current era. The era born from you, Nishijori Takumi and Narose Genichi. We are putting our best efforts into fixing this error. The error born from you, Nishijori Takumi, and Narose Genichi. Right, that's related to our current era. So the world will once again be placed under your order, one where you will continue to exploit the general populace as mindless slaves. As Hatano spoke, a horrifying possibility stemming from his own words came to him, and his brow furrowed. Has the worldwide human domestication project already been completed? You produced an interesting concept, but that's not quite the right way to put it. To correctly express it from the viewpoint of God, you are all already livestock from the moment of this world's inception. Nevertheless, this is nothing but a hypothetical. Answer my original question. As the Committee of 300, how precisely would you define this world? A game? Grounds for experiment? A farm for livestock? How would you define this world? Is it A game, B, grounds for experiment, or C, a farm for livestock? In response to Hatano, this fell silent. I wonder whether there's a way to decrypt that. The time has come. The time? The time for what? The Committee of 300 must remain an entity of shadow. Anyone who knows too much must be disposed of, much like Inohana and Kiramachi before you. None of you are exceptions to this rule. What do you mean by... Oh no, our Senna and Nishijou Takumi. You three became pawns the moment we established contact. Oh, whoa, I missed that. What did it say? None of you exceptions to this rule. Pawns fulfill the role they are given, nothing more. Okay, wow. The monitor abruptly went black. It was no different than a death sentence. Senna! Is he going to run after them? Clamping his teeth down on his lip. It's a weird way to say that. Just say biting lip. Clamping his teeth down on his lip. Hatano frantically stood up, like a thirst trap. Why is he doing that now? It's inappropriate. Hatano frantically stood up. If he left now, perhaps he would still be able to catch the two of them before they reached Shibuya Station. He had to tell them that it was a trap. He did not want to let his daughter die. After killing his wife and second daughter, she was the only family he had left. No matter how much hatred she held for him, all he wanted was for her to live. For this reason, Hatano ran, in a sexy way while he bit his lip. And yet in the end, he was not able to escape the Nozomi Technology Building. Oh. What happened? For before he could, the sounds of an explosion combined with a furious vibration ripped through the building. It was not collapsing due to the earthquake. However, the sound alone told him it was by the hand of a man, or hand of man. Not God, though. But knowing this did not change his fate. The ground beneath his feet collapsed, and, as if the lid had been lifted off the cauldron of hell itself, the earth opened wide and swallowed up the insignificant existence that was Hatano Isai. Or Isie, whatever you say his name. Should I look that up, do you think? Do you think that there's going to be a thing that says how you say his name? How to pronounce... Let's listen. Issei. Issei. Okay, Issei. Easy. Issei. Issei. Going on a walk through Shibuya finally helped things sink in. I finally came to terms with just how horrifying the earthquake that had hit the city truly was. Not a single trace of the once dazzling city remained. The city was... dead. Shibuya was now a city of death. Countless unmoving bodies littered the streets, some lying alone, others piled on top of one another. Various sections of the main road were deeply stained with pools of blood. Nothing was alive. Everyone was dead. Everyone. Tano-san had said something earlier about the causalities being in the thousands. Casualties. Causalities would have an I between the L and the T. Casualties. And the sole cause of all this suffering was no other second. This wasn't a natural disaster. It wasn't even any kind of disaster at all. This was an atrocity. A massacre. Senna, who was just a few steps ahead of me, had an intense look of sorrow on her face. Atano-san hadn't come with us. We'd left him behind at the Zomi Technology building. They were father and daughter apparently, but they didn't really act like it. It felt like Senna had some sort of one-sided intense hatred toward her father. They'd mentioned Senna's mother and younger sister during the conversation. What happened between the two of them? Whatever it was, it must have been what had led to Senna's heart and mind being broken. Despite me wondering that, I didn't plan on asking for some detailed account of what had happened or anything. Not that I knew how to, or in the first place. Besides, our number one priority at the moment was obtaining the cheat code. Once we had that, I wouldn't need Senna to protect me anymore. I'd be able to live on my own. Suddenly, a rumbling sound came from behind me. Thinking it was another earthquake, I immediately got down on my hands and knees. I didn't just get on my hands, I wasn't doing handstands, but the ground wasn't what was shaking. I slowly and cautiously looked behind me, toward where the Nozomi main office we were just in should have been standing, but it wasn't. Smoke was pouring into the sky. It looked like the end result of an erupting volcano. And the building that should have been there wasn't there. Oh god. Had it collapsed? But Hatano-san was still in there. You gonna say anything to Senna? Or not? Ah! A small whimper escaped. Oh, sorry. A small whimper escaped Senna's lips. She looked up at the smoke filling the sky in a daze. Dad. After a moment, she noticed my gaze and quickly turned the other way. However, her shoulders continued to tremble. Damn it. If I knew this would happen, I would have killed him myself. If I had just killed him then, Well, we can just bring him back, too. Once we got our hands on the cheat code, we could do that. There was no reason we couldn't, as long as we believed the, what? Like, how would he even say that in his head? Had said. I wonder if there is a way to decode that. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? 4 letters, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters, right? Haha. Bringing someone back to life just to kill them. That's counterintuitive. Senna laughed to herself, but her voice was muffled by her tears. I didn't really know what to say to her, so I just hung my head. Senna fought back her tears for a while, but eventually, as if she'd made up her mind about something, she started moving forward once again. And now not a single tear remained on her face. I hurriedly followed after her. Underground Shibuya Station was home to both a Hanzomon line and the newly constructed Fukutoshin line, which had a far more complicated structure to it. There was also a Ginza line platform located 2 floors above ground, but it was still treated as a subway service. Ask pretty much anyone and they tell you the place was pretty much a dungeon. And not only that, but the earthquake had caused all stairways leading underground to collapse, and now they were all buried in rubble. Senna had been able to use her D-sword to blast away the rubble and clear a path for us, but to clear a path for us, so it hadn't posed much of a problem, but due to the lack of proper lighting, finding the right coin locker had been taking a lot more time than expected, and my voice was cracking then. I didn't expect it to. Right, let me just absorb this sentence for a second. This is a long sentence. Maybe the longest sentence anyone's ever seen. Sarah had been able to use her D-sword to blast away the rubble and clear a path for us, so it hadn't posed much of a problem, but due to the lack of proper lighting, finding the right coin locker had been taking a lot more time than expected. You could put that into 2 sentences. And if that weren't enough, the air filtration system had stopped, leaving the air disgusting and filled with dust. Just a little sip of my drink. My coughing refused to stop, to the point where I felt like I was going to die, and the stench of death wafting off the scattered corpses didn't help either.
Is this it?
Senna had finally located the coin locker, which was somehow standing tall with no signs of any noticeable damage. To our astonishment and subsequent relief, the locker still had power running to it, something that was made clear by the bright glow of the IC card reader. Please make a selection was displayed on the screen. Retrieve and deposit were the only two buttons available.
Could there really be a cheat code in such an ordinary locker?
The locker had been there since before the earthquake. A whole bunch of customers would have passed through here before us. On a normal day, no one would have paid it any mind. Just how many people actually used lockers like this in the first place? I couldn't imagine I couldn't imagine there'd be that many. Upon closer inspection, it occurred to me that almost all of the other lockers were buried in rubble. And behind that single closed door was something beyond imagination. Urban legends like that had been floating around for decades. It wasn't especially strange or anything like that, wasn't it? It was fairly grounded in reality, actually. A small container that you could find very easily throughout your ordinary life, housing something extraordinary. That was the idea behind it. When I pushed the retrieve button, a message popped up saying, "Please scan your card."
What we find in there, will it give us hope or despair, like in Danganronpa?
Senna dug out her IC card from her pocket and slowly approached the screen. Oh! With an electronic beep, the sound of a lock releasing came from the locker. The sound echoed ominously throughout the dead, silent underground. Senna and I stood anchored to the spot, and then we both checked our surroundings. We'd at least come face to face with a cheat code. What form it'd take, neither of us knew. Please don't let it be something gross or anything gory. Personally, if I had a choice, I'd want it to be Serotan. A Serotan figure. Yeah, that'd be the best possible outcome. But I thought they had to destroy it. Maybe they don't. Senna wiped off the sweat beading on her brow.
It was 1009, wasn't it?
What is it? The locker we were looking at was the second from the left, and third from the top. The door was fairly big and it had 1009 written on it. The locker was ever so slightly ajar. All we could see inside the slight gap was uncertain, unending darkness. Senna and I stared at the locker, frozen in place. "You open it." Even though she didn't say it out loud, I could feel Senna telling me that. Granted, I was doing the same thing, so we were both equally cowardly. "Come on, you do it," I told her inside my head. I thought about letting a game of rock, paper, scissors make the decision for us, but it wasn't the time to mess around like that. "Senna, you should open it," was what I was going to say, but I was interrupted.
"Open it, Nishijo."
Senna took a step back and readied her sword.
"I'll stand guard just in case."
"What the hell do you mean, just in case?"
"Hurry up."
I still felt like she was going to stick me with the tip of a sword any second now. My throat went dry from the anxiety. But my recently unearthed hope resurfaced once again. If I surpass this trial, I can become a hero. With this adage etched onto my heart, upon my heart I summoned all of my remaining courage. I placed my hand on the half-open locker door. Do I open it?
Yeah.
I slowly opened the door. It opened easier than I expected. And inside I found a little baby. What is that? Senna and I peeked into the locker at a loss for words. A white bundle of cloth. Not a person. It was bigger than I expected. but right when I reached out to touch it... It's a baby! It is a baby! It's a person! What? I pulled my hand back in a panic at the sudden voice. It's... no way. It's...
A baby?
A live baby had been in the locker. I mean, it's been decades since then, but abandoned children being found in coin lockers had been a fairly large social issue at one point. But for it to be happening now... Wait. That didn't matter right now. Where was the cheat code? I double-checked the locker number. It was unmistakably 1009, so that must have meant... Senna gently picked it up as it continued to wail, handling it like a fragile object that would fall to pieces if she let go of it. Oh, is this like her mother? When the mother was led to believe that she had a child and it was just a dead baby, essentially, wasn't it? Or something like that? The baby's cries grew louder and louder. Senna grimaced as her body stiffened and knocked in place. She looked at me with pleading eyes. Maybe it's not that, but...
Nishijo, help.
What am I supposed to do? Why ask me? Oh, that was her.
What am I supposed to do?
I think you should just let it suck on your tits. Yeah. Takumi! Just... Just get through one moment of your life without an opportunity to be fucking weird.
Burn in hell.
Her glare pierced through me. Had she overheard my delusion just now? That baby is probably the cheat code. I mean, if we thought about what they said... Flashback. We pray for your success. You must destroy it. If the baby was the cheat code, it wouldn't activate unless we destroyed it. Destroy it, in other words, kill it. I went silent and Senna glared daggers at me. She shielded the baby with her arms.
We can't. There's no way in hell we can do that. They survived the earthquake all alone in the dark, in a dark, cramped place like this.
But it's the cheat code. It only appeared here after the earthquake. It isn't human. It just looks like one.
That's only if you believe what the self-proclaimed Committee of 300 said. What if they were lying? What if this baby had been left here originally and those people just embedded the cheat code into them?
I cowered at Senna's horrifically menacing look. Even so, I frantically shot back my rebuttal without looking her in the eye. But it's not like we have much of a choice here. If we don't destroy it, the cheat won't... If I lost to Senna here, I'd end up losing the cheat code and I'd stay in a taco freak for the rest of my miserable life.
Just feel them, Nishijo. Feel the warmth coming off of them. Are you really capable of killing a small child? Child?
Of course I can't. I'm completely harmless. That's why you need to do it, Senna. But I couldn't actually say any of that. Senna, you're contradicting yourself. You were so motivated before we got here. The world is all just an electronic device, right? So that means that baby's just a shell. A doll.
But they're crying.
Senna gently embraced the baby. She had such a tender and loving expression on her face I couldn't believe she was the same ill-tempered girl from before.
The baby. They're crying, Nishijo.
She was a total mess. Had Senna been just a completely fucking schizo all along? What? We have to destroy the activated Noah II with the cheat. If we don't, then we can't bring back your family. Why are you hesitating now?
Because they're alive.
I can't kill them. I can't. Well then, how about I lend a hand? Who's that? Is this gonna be... Sewer? Huh? A thunderous roar. Unsure of what just happened, I reflexively crouched down. There he is a lad, isn't he? Oh my god. Staying like that, I took a look around me and spotted a single silhouette standing outside the Fukutushin line ticket gate. They were gripping something that looked like a gun, and they were pointing it in our direction. It sounded like we just had a shot. Senna croaked. When I looked over at her, I saw her hands covered in blood. Oh my god, did he shoot the baby? But it wasn't hers, it was coming from the baby she was cradling. The white towel the baby was wrapped up in was turning crimson.
They're dead. It happened again. I couldn't do anything.
Senna's entire body trembled violently. Wowee, my awesome shooting skills never let me down. The man continued to walk toward us with the most casual smile on his face. On his back, the man wore a rucksack that clashed heavily with his suit. What are you two talking about down here? Oh, and while I'm out there thinking of it, what was up with that baby? Wait, don't tell me. Was that your secret love child? Did you two do it? Man, high schoolers these days. Don't even. But, meh. None of that really matters. I came to take care of you two. If we let you two asswipes near there was the second, you'd start causing an awful lot of trouble. Was he referring to Nozomi? I felt like I'd seen him somewhere before. He was carrying a gun. Normal people didn't carry a gun. He was going to kill us. We had to run. Well then, guess I'll start by taking care of the hyper-dangerous spree killer hiding in a high school's... What? The hyper-dangerous spree killer hiding in a high school's girl's body. Jesus Christ, try and say that 6 times. I'll start by taking care of the hyper-dangerous spree killing. Can't do it. Hyper-dangerous spree killer hiding in a high school's girl's body. I mean, you know, spare a moment for all the people that tried to read that out loud. The man raised his gun and pointed it directly at Senna, but she didn't react at all. She, still clutching the baby, she'd broken down in sobs. What do I do? We've got the cheat code now. Do we? What the hell do I do? I should be invincible now. There's no way I can protect Senna. If I'm invincible, then I can be reckless and stupid and be perfectly fine. Uh-oh. Gah!
Nishijo?
Ugh. Ugh. I'd shielded Senna. A fierce pain exploded in my chest, followed by a burning heat that felt like I was caught on fire. That I had caught on fire. My uniform was stained in blood. I'd been shot. Whoa, that was awesome, Nishijo Takumi-kun. Putting your life on the line to protect a chick. You really are a shining example for all us guys out there. But how much longer can you keep it up? Ugh. Ah. Wow. I mean, he's going to run out of bullets eventually. Each time a gunshot ripped through the air, another bullet opened a hole in my body. Ugh. Ugh. My blood splattered everywhere. The pain eroded my nerves. Senna was still frozen in place, looking at me with tears in her eyes as she cradled the baby. Over half the white towel was now covered in a deep shade of red. I could no longer tell if that blood was mine or the baby's.
Nishijo, you're bleeding. If you don't stop, you'll...
Well, use the cheat code.
But what do I do?
Is that Takumi saying that, or... This wasn't good. I was going to lose consciousness. It hurts. 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 I never asked to go through pain like this. With the cheat code, I should be invincible. But if Senna doesn't activate it, I'm gonna die. I could feel him getting closer to me. I could sense a sinister bloodlust overflowing from him. Something cold and solid was pushing into my back. It felt like my wounds were being grilled over hot coals as that cold sensation clawed through them. Ah! Well, aren't you a trooper? But it ends here, with one point blank bang. With one point blank bang. To the heart. Pretty sure not even a Giglomaniac could survive that one. Senna, hurry. Senna only continued to cry. This was it. After all that grinding to get the cheat code, none of it mattered in the end. In the end. Burn in hell, you little shit. What's happening? The sensation on my back suddenly disappeared. I thought I'd been shot, but it wasn't a gunshot that I'd heard. It was the sound of the air itself shaking. My arm! White feathers shimmered and danced through the air. But we were underground, there shouldn't have been any birds here. Despite my consciousness turning foggy, and the pain ripping through my entire body, I slowly managed to turn around. And I guess we're going to find out exactly what's going on next time on Borderline Games when Takumi finally decides to turn around. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chaos Head, and I will see you next time. Let me know what you think is going on. I think as this game goes on, it keeps on throwing so many new plot points that I've kind of lost track at this point. But nay mind. I will see you next time. Have a good evening. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.